What's up guys, how you doing? Welcome to another video. So today we are talking all about the different autofocus cases that you get inside the 1dx series of cameras, and along with a few other series too, like the 7D Mark II does it, and I believe there's a few other Canon cameras that have it as well. Today we're going to test out the different ones. We're going to see the differences when we track the same subject through a number of scenarios, and we will see which ones have which different effects on the autofocus. If you think this video is a good idea, do me a favour, hit that like button. It helps me out loads on my channel, helps my video to be more successful. That's why I ask you to do it, and I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, think about subscribing. Loads of other videos coming on my channel which I think you will enjoy if you like this one. So for those of you guys who aren't familiar with this, in a lot of the Canon series of cameras, and specifically the 1D series, this is my 1dx Mark I just for reference, you can, in the autofocus menu, you can choose which case you want for the autofocus, and there are 6 to choose from. Let's run through them right now. The first one, case 1, is described as being a versatile multi-purpose setting. Now that is actually the one that I use pretty much all the time up until now. Number 2, that is described as continue to track subjects ignoring possible obstacles. Number 3 is described as instantly focus on subjects suddenly entering autofocus points. Number 4 is described as subjects that accelerate or decelerate quickly. Case 5 is described as for erratic subjects moving quickly in any direction. And number 6, lastly, is described as for subjects that change speed and move erratically. Now I did used to use number 6 for a little while based on the recommendation. Kind of felt like it didn't make much difference, and so generally speaking I have just been sticking to case 1 up until this point. So I was thinking about what can we do to test these? What can we do to try to see how they compare when you're photographing the same kind of scenario? Now typically in sports, the kind of challenges you're facing are people running side to side, like across your frame, people running forwards towards you or maybe backwards away from you, people running erratically, like at an angle, kind of diagonally towards you, something like that. And of course the other big thing you get is people disappear behind other people, or 90% of the time behind the referee, who's just conveniently in the way of all your photos. Referees. So I thought I would set up a bit of an experiment. Now there's like a park area not far from me. The only thing I needed was an athlete. Luckily we have a homegrown athlete right here in the house. So Connor is coming with me out there, and we are going to run a bit of an experiment. For the sake of consistency, of course, I will be using the 1dx for all of these, and I'm also going to be using my 70-200. Just for reference again, this is the f2.8 IS Mark I. And we will use this for all of the photos. Okay, now we're going to go down there and we are going to pre-plan a set route. And the idea of that route is that we're going to start off with him running from left to right across my frame. He's then going to turn towards me and run towards my camera. He's then going to turn slightly from there and run diagonally, so like across from right to left and towards me at the same time. And then there are like some big old tree stump things down there, and he's going to cross behind those tree stumps. They're roughly the same height as him, and it gives us a real good test of if he was passing behind some other players in a match. And then he's going to come out the other side. So the idea being that we will be seeing how well the autofocus tracks him as he moves in a lateral direction, as he moves towards me, as he moves diagonally, and then of course the important thing I think for me, and especially where I anticipate seeing a difference in these cases, will be when he passes directly before he passes behind the tree stump, as he's behind the tree stump, and then of course the second he comes out from behind those stumps, how quickly does it focus on him again? That's going to be quite an important thing, and we're going to be continuously taking photos through the course of that run. So we're going to go down there, we literally are just going to fire off some shots. He's going to run that route, bless him, he's going to run that route 6 times. photos. We're going to do it on case 1, case 2, case 3, case 4, case 5, and then case 6. Continuously taking photos through all of them. Then we're going to come back down here. We're going to look at them all on the computer and we're going to see how they compare. Now, I think I should probably jump in at this point and say this isn't any kind of like scientific test. I'm not getting into the real details or anything like that. We literally are taking photos on all those different cases. I'm going to look at them on a screen and tell you how I think they compare. That's it. There's not any more science behind this test. If you're after a much more scientific test, there probably are people who've done something like that, but this is a real world test trying to recreate in a scenario that I deal with when I'm photographing like football or something all the time. And probably off the back of this, it will determine actually, was I right in using case 1, or is there something that I think might work better that we will switch to? Right, let's head down to the park, let's get those photos, then we're going to come back here and we will look on the computer. Let's go. Okay, in your own time. Okay, and just like that, we are back in the office, and boy, are we hot, because man, it is hot out there, and it is hot in here. You guys have seen my office is kind of in like a conservatory thing, and oh man, so if you see sweat running down my face whilst I'm here looking at these photos, I apologise guys. Right, let's get into this, and I probably should say now that the photos have had nothing done to them, so we're literally looking at them straight off the card. They are high quality JPEGs, which is what I would normally be shooting my football games in. Haven't even put them in Lightroom, no adjustments, no contrast, nothing like that. These are straight out of the camera. Right, let's have a look, and of course we're starting with case 1, which as a reminder, case 1 is described as the versatile multi-purpose setting. So we probably would expect this to be generally okay in most of the areas, right? Let's have a look. Okay, so case 1. So the focus straight off the bat as he has started to run looks fine, and yeah, it seems pretty locked on as he takes those couple of steps sideways. Rounds the corner. Does it keep locked on as he's coming towards me? Yep, looks like it has. Staying, yep, nice in focus. No, yeah, good. So I think it just took a slight second for the image to load there. I thought it was a bit soft, but yeah, still looks sharp as he's running now this diagonal run. And now this will be an interesting part, right? So let's have a look here. So we are locked on focus just before he goes behind this stump. He's then starting to disappear behind. Still locked on, definitely, as he's in between the two. And then as he comes out, I don't know what happened there. I don't know if that was just me being a bit slow, because we probably should have had a frame in between. But either way, he's passed behind that second stump and it's locked onto him the second he comes out the other side. So yeah, look, as suspected, case 1 seems pretty much okay, fairly versatile, and doesn't seem to have really struggled in any of those areas. So let's check out case 2. Now, this one is interesting, right? This is described as the continuing to track subjects, ignoring possible obstacles. So I would expect this one to track Connor and ignore those stumps. So let's see what happens. So as per the other one, as per case 1, it looks like it's pretty good going lateral, coming towards me. Again, looks pretty good. Doesn't look like we are struggling here. Sorry, each image just takes like a second to load on my computer, guys, which is why when you do it, it looks soft for like a second, and then there you go, it kind of flicks in. So no problems coming towards us, right? So look, this is the lateral, fine. This is the interesting part, right? So, okay, so here we go. So we are locked on focus. Now we should ignore that stump according to case 2. So he's going behind it, comes out the other side, and looks pretty good. Looks like it still tracked him. He's about to go behind again as he pops out the other side. Oh man, this is interesting, right? Okay, so case 2 that is supposed to ignore possible obstacles. Connor has run in focus behind the stump, and as he comes out the other side, we seem to have locked focus onto this stump right here, which is interesting, right? It's actually a bit weird because case 2 is the one that kind of specifically suggests it won't do that. So interesting. And oh wow, and look, it's actually taken 2, 3, oh man, even like 3 frames later, it still hasn't locked back onto him again. In fact, it didn't lock back onto him again all up to the point where I stopped shooting, which was that frame there, was the last frame I took. Interesting. Okay, well, So I'll tell you what will be interesting now is going to be the comparison with case 3. Because case 3 is described as instantly focusing on objects that enter the focus areas. So you would assume that that means this one especially would lock onto the tree stumps. So let's have a look. So again, focus seems pretty good as he's running across left to right. Turns this corner, coming towards me. Yep, still seems pretty locked on. No concerns here. No, seems good as he comes off that corner. Let's go forwards a bit because this is the key bit, right? So, okay, interesting. Now, about to go behind the stump. Now, so he's in focus there and he's about to go behind the stump. Now, oh, this is good timing because we've got, okay, so you can see here straight away, right? Just look at the top of his head. It has locked focus onto this stump compared to him. So it'll be interesting to see how quick it locks back onto him as he comes back out the other side. Yeah, and so as expected, he is a little bit soft now in this frame because it locked onto this stump straight away. He's gone behind the next one. Oh, this is interesting because I can already tell, look, as he's coming out this side, it seems to have stayed focused on him. And, oh, that's interesting, right? So case 3 has held the focus on him as he's gone behind that bigger stump when case 2 didn't. And don't worry, I've double checked. I'm definitely looking at the right images from the right cases. So that's interesting. But let's carry on. Let's look at case 4. So, yep, still a lot of focus on him as he comes out. Right, case 4. So, okay. As he's coming towards me, all good. Okay, that's interesting. So case 4, I would say ever so slightly, and I'm looking at this frame, ever so slightly softer in terms of him running towards us. Now, it's not bad, but it's a little bit less sharp than some of the others. So case 4, and sorry, I should have said, case 4 was described as subjects that accelerate or decelerate quickly. So maybe that means left to right, like lateral, because it doesn't seem to have kept on. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's not bad, right? You wouldn't look like that and say it hasn't focused, but it doesn't seem quite as sharp. Whereas the next frame, it seems to have locked back into him again. So, going behind. That's interesting, right? Generally, with case 4, I don't feel like it's as sharp on these kind of, like, let's look at this cut. So, right now, he's running from my right to my left and towards me at the same time, so diagonally. So, if we go back to a similar frame on case 3, you see, that just feels sharper to me than the equivalent frame on case 4. That's interesting, right? Case 4 seems to struggle slightly. Let's see how it deals with the stumps. So, in focus as we go behind the stump, and then maybe slightly soft. You can see it a lot in the text, right? Millennium Falcon for you Star Wars fans out there. You can see it a little bit in the text, right? You can see like here. No, not here. Maybe here. Yeah, okay, you can't really tell because of the angle of him, but you can see it's lost a little bit. So, it goes behind the stump. Now, it doesn't look like it's fully locked on to here or here. And as we come out the other side, yeah, he looks like he's really in focus. So it doesn't seem to have struggled with the stumps, but it does feel like it struggled slightly more with just the general erratic movement. So, right, let's look at case 5. Case 5, described as for subjects that move quickly in any direction. So you would expect this one to be pretty good at the general movement stuff, and let's see how it deals with the stumps. So, we seem pretty good on the lateral as he comes off this corner. Yep, pretty good again. Coming towards me. Yep, still good. Coming round the corner. Yep, right. So about here is where case 4 struggled. And yeah, case 5. So case 5 seems to have dealt with this really well because that looks solid. Let's see how we go with the stumps. So, going behind the stump. No, seems to have dealt with that fine. And then goes behind the next one. Coming out the other side. That's pretty good, right? So that's interesting. So case 5 doesn't seem to have really struggled at all. Case 5 looks pretty good. Okay, we've got one more to look at. Let's look at case 6. So case 6 is described as for subjects that change speed and move erratically. So let's see how we go. Case 6 seems pretty good. Along, still good. Coming towards me here. Yeah, fine. Still good. Round this corner, let's see here. This is where some of them have... nope, we're still good. Let's just check out the stumps. So we're going behind the stumps. How have we locked? Oh, no, good. And then behind the bigger one. Pops out the other side and still bang in focus. So interesting, right? So far, most of them are fine. Case 1 definitely fine, 5 definitely fine, 6 definitely fine. 2 and 3 seem to do some funny stuff compared to the description, and case 2 especially seemed to really struggle with him going behind those stumps. Case 4 slightly on the lateral, but not much at all. Really the only one that seemed to struggle as such was case 2. Right, let's spin back round to the desk so we can talk about them a little bit more. Okay, so quite interesting results, I guess, right? I mean, I anticipated that there wouldn't be that much difference between them, because that's what I've heard quite a bit, that there isn't that much difference between them. And that's my observation, right? Things like the lateral focus, someone running across, someone running towards me, seem pretty consistent. Didn't really notice any problems with any of that. The thing which seems a little bit odd is that of all of the cases, the one that seemed to struggle when he ran behind that stump and then trying to refocus on him when we came out the other side was case 2, which is the one that is described as continue to track subjects ignoring possible obstacles. Now, seems a little bit strange because, for example, case 3 that is described as instantly focuses on subjects suddenly entering the autofocus points didn't seem to do that. That seemed to stay focused on him. So a little bit strange. And look, probably to get a more scientific outcome, maybe we would need to run it and do it 5-6 times and see if we consistently get the same result. You know, maybe with case 2 it just happened to lock onto that tree, or maybe, you know, I passed by the tree stump at a slightly different speed than I did on case 2 or case 3. Who knows? There could be different variables that affect it. But the biggest thing for me, and I think the biggest overriding factor for me, is that there didn't really seem to be much difference. And so I think as we stand right now, that probably leaves me feeling that I'm correct with using case 1, which is described as the versatile one. That kind of feels like it works okay. Whether or not we will try it again in the future, I don't know. But right now, I think case 1, the versatile setting, is probably the one that I will go for. Unless maybe I'm doing something that's like really specific. Like maybe if I was doing something, I don't know, like off the top of my head, photographing like a drag race where things are literally moving from one side across my frame, you know, then maybe I might look at like case 4 for subjects that accelerate quickly or something like that. But I think generally speaking, I will be sticking with case 1. Hope you guys found that interesting. I hope you found it useful. I get asked so many questions via my social medias about these autofocus cases. People asking all the time. People message me saying, oh, I use this one for basketball and this one for football. Am I doing the right thing? And my answer has generally been, look, don't know if there's much difference. I use case 1, and chances are going forwards, that's probably still going to be the answer that I give. Speaking of my social medias, don't forget to go check me out on Instagram, guys. The best place for my sports photos is my @RobSamblesSport. Don't forget to check me out on Twitter, @RobSamblesPhoto. You can find me over there. That's the best place where we get loads of interaction as well. Right, I think we just need to round off the video. I need to get ready because we've got a live stream Q&A going into our Facebook group later on this evening. If you want to find out about that, check out the first link in the description. That will tell you how you can be a part of that if you would like to get involved. In the meantime, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next video.